Once, there was a very large monastery in a part of China, where about 500 monks lived. They were all practicing self-discovery, under the guidance of their master. One day, a boy came to the monastery to become a disciple. He said to the master, "Master, I want to know myself. I am searching for the truth. I want to find out what is true." The master looked at him and said, "If you want to know the truth, you will have to put your entire life at stake. It may take your entire life to know the truth, and even then there is no guarantee that you will find it in this lifetime. Are you ready for this?" The disciple said, "Master, I did not come here to turn back. I am ready for this." The master said, "If that is the case, do one thing. There are 500 monks in this monastery. Do the job of pounding rice for them. Just keep pounding rice from morning till evening. When you get tired, go to sleep and then wake up next morning and start pounding rice. Don't do anything else or think about anything else. Just keep doing this work, and don't come back to me until I call you. If you need me, I will come to you." The boy obeyed the master's order, and began pounding rice. There were 500 disciples in that monastery, and they all needed food from time to time, so he ground rice from morning until night, almost without rest. For a few months, while pounding rice, old thoughts kept coming to his mind, but when he couldn't find any new ideas to replace them, they disappeared on their own. Gradually, his mind became less preoccupied, and after a few years, he even forgot his own name. He remained silent and in a thoughtless state, constantly pounding rice. He had never paid attention, nor had he ever read any scripture. The other disciples of the monastery thought of him as a fool. This went on for 12 years. One day, after 12 years, the master announced that his time had come, and he had to choose his successor, who would become the head of the monastery after him. Therefore, any disciple who felt that he had achieved enlightenment and realized himself, should come to my door at night, and write a few lines on this wall, depicting his life's entire experience. Many disciples thought of doing this. One of the chief disciples of the monastery went there and wrote a few lines. He had a lot of knowledge about Buddhist scriptures. All the disciples thought that he could become the successor of the ashram. He wrote that, "The mind is like a mirror, on which the dust of thoughts and desires settles. Meditation is needed to remove this dust. The one whose dust is removed and whose mind is clear, attains salvation." When Master woke up the next morning, and saw these lines, he became very angry and said, "Which fool has written all this trash on my wall?" The student who had written these lines remained silent. Although the lines he had written were filled with knowledge, it was all bookish knowledge. The student was very clever. He wrote the lines, but did not sign them. Because he, himself was not sure if they were correct or not, since he had not had a direct experience of them. The master completely removed these lines. Everyone was surprised to see this. This incident became the subject of discussion throughout the monastery. While discussing this topic, 2 disciples passed by the one who had come here 12 years ago, and who would pound rice, day and night. Hearing the conversation of both disciples, he chuckled softly. The 2 disciples asked him why he was laughing. In their eyes, the rice pounder was a very insignificant monk, whom no one had ever noticed or seen studying scriptures. Everyone thought that he was foolish and only knew how to pound rice. In that monastery, there were many great scholars, but no one cared about the rice pounder. Therefore, the two disciples were amazed to see him smiling. Then they asked him why he was laughing. The rice pounder replied, "I laughed because the master is right, these lines are garbage. They have no value." Both disciples were surprised. They then asked him if he could write some better lines. The rice pounder replied, "No, because I am illiterate, but yes, I can say some lines, and if you can write them down, I am ready to go with you." The two disciples said okay. They went near the master's room. The pounder said few lines and the other disciple wrote them on the wall, and below those lines, he wrote rice pounder. They thought that the master would get angry even at this. The lines that he asked them to write were very wonderful. And those lines were, "The mind is just an illusion, neither is it the mind nor is it a mirror of the mind, and when there is no mind, where will the dust settle? One who knows this has realized the truth." When the master saw these lines, he woke up in the middle of the night, and went to the one who pound rice, who was sleeping. The master woke him up and said, "Take my staff and my clothes, from now on, you are my successor. But now leave this monastery and go far away, because there are many scholars in this monastery, who consider themselves superior to you. They will kill you, because they cannot tolerate the fact that a simple rice pounder turned out to be more knowledgeable than them. You have acquired all the knowledge that I have, and you have obtained this knowledge only by pounding rice. I know that, wherever you go, people will come to you, because when a flower blooms, its fragrance spreads everywhere." He touched his master's feet and left from there, that night. If we look at our lives, we will find that many people think that meditation can only be done by sitting in one place with eyes closed, but in reality, it can be done while doing something else, or even while working. Actually, the meaning of meditation is that, whatever work you are doing, you are so engrossed in that you are not even aware of your body. Just like the person who became so engrossed in pounding rice that he didn't even think about himself. He attained self-realization while pounding rice. Similarly, the meaning of meditation is to always be in the present moment, and not think about anything. Because the mind exists only as long as there are thoughts. When there are no thoughts, the mind also disappears, and only then can you know yourself well. In fact, there is no need to do any other practice to know our true nature. We just need to completely immerse ourselves in whatever we are doing. Be so engrossed in your work that your work becomes our meditation.